It's Christian Butzek, local Burnaby, Vancouver-based real estate agent, and welcome to Rapid Fire Real Estate, where I'm going to take you through 4 or 5 topics, spend 2 to 3 minutes on each, and you can take that intel out into the marketplace with you. And if you need more help, my contact is in the show notes below. Okay, what I want to do is give you the quick agenda. 5 topics today. We're going to talk about interest rates. What will happen on September the 4th? Second is the breakdown for the summer market. What happened in August? And I'm going to share with you several numbers that caught my attention and in the neighborhoods where we saw the biggest price drops. Third, The Big Short. You may have seen the movie. It was a good, fun movie, fast moving, a thinker's film with lots of drama. And the book is even better. And I'm going to share some examples of how the shady lending practice in the United States are very different than they are in conservative Canada, and why you don't need to worry about a housing collapse here in Canada. Fourth topic is BC's Bombshell. BC United collapses, takes themselves out of the election. And why did that happen? What caused it? I'll give you the answers to both. And finally, a comment on half-duplexes, what we saw from the last weekend of visiting half a dozen half-duplexes in the East Vancouver area. Okay, let's jump into it. The first topic is the interest rates. Okay, Bank of Canada meeting coming up. They've already decreased the rate twice here in the last 3 months, and they're probably going to shave off another 0.25% on September the 4th. And the reason for that is the economy is slowing down, unemployment is going up, inflation is down, and I'll tell you something else. Topic number 2, the real estate market is hurting to a good extent. The number of sales is down. Now, as of making this video here at 6:15 on Tuesday, September the 3rd, we have not had the media release by the Real Estate Board of Greater Vancouver, which would outline this. However, I subscribe to a different service, and I can see, based on the neighborhoods and the price bandwidths, what the sales are and where prices are going, whether they're trending up or whether they're trending down. And I'll share with you. On average here, The thing I noticed is that sales numbers, looks like it's going to be down between 20 and 30%, month over month from July to August 2024. That's a significant decrease. Yes, in August, people go away. They go on vacation, might not be thinking about real estate. They're hosting barbecues. But even then, sales numbers look like they're at last year's levels in August, if not below that. And so very cool market right now. And I'll tell you, there's 3 areas where we're seeing price reductions. First, of significance that I want to share with you. Otherwise, I'm not going to share, obviously, all the data. But the 3 I want to focus on, one is downtown condos, Vancouver downtown, and where we saw an 8% decrease. From the average selling price went from $820 to $755, and that's a large data set as well. Second is North Vancouver condos, dropping 10%, going from $970 to $870 average sale price. Again, a large subset there. And the third area that caught my attention was detached homes in East Vancouver, where prices declined from 1.96 million to 1.87 million month on month. That's significant. So we're going to have to watch those trends. Are we bottoming out? Perhaps. I know we're seeing these interest rate decreases now, and the Bank of Canada is moving very aggressively on them. Still, I don't know that we'll see a real turnaround in the market for maybe 6 to 9 months, because there's generally a lag time to these things. Even when you go back to 2008-09, when we did have the implosion of the U.S. housing market and things slowed down in Vancouver in September, they did pick up again, but they picked up the following May. So there can be 2 to 3 quarters of a lag time effect before we really see buyers rush back out into the marketplace and take advantage of those lower interest rates. So if you are a buyer, you might not want to, wait until the very end of that if you don't have to. All right, moving along. Third topic I want to discuss here is The Big Short, the film. Great movie, even better book, to be honest with you, because you can get into more nitty gritty. There's more in-depth discussions, and the author presents the arguments better for the different participants. But look, what I want to share with you was the lending practices at the time in the United States, and this is 2003 through to 2007. Unbelievable stuff. Strawberry pickers with an income of $14,000 qualifying for $500,000 loans. A stripper with 5 home equity lines of credit on her place, meaning she bought pulled out money out of her principal residence 5 times to buy 5 different properties. Other examples here. Some buyers couldn't make the very first mortgage payment. I mean, who lends money to somebody who can't make the very first mortgage payment? And of course, these mortgages were then bundled into bonds that were traded on Wall Street. Ninja loans, which were no income, no job. Basically, buyers didn't need to provide mortgage documents. In fact, the actual mortgage application was 1 page long, and there's examples in the book of brokers just telling the client, don't worry, just write in your name. I'll get you a mortgage. I mean, that's one step away from, giving a homeless person a mortgage on a $700,000 home. Negative amortization was another characteristic of loans at that time. That's when, most loans in Canada have really 2 types, 25 years or 30 years. And in the U.S., you could get principal interest payments only, no principal reduction, and of course that's going to extend the how much you owe the bank, and you're going to go from 30 to 40 to 50 years until you have that paid off. That is the type of loan they were giving, and of course the subprime, the teaser rate, right? So the first 2 years of the mortgage was given to buyers, lenders, borrowers at let's say 2%, and then after those 2 years, the rate would jump to 5%. And for a lot of buyers, they would have to refinance. And of course, the banks would collect fees and charges on that as well. So what's the difference between that and what we have here in Canada? Good question. So here in Canada, for example, down payment requirements are stringent. I mean, if you are buying a property over $1 million, it's an investment property or it's a second property, you need to have a minimum 20%. So you have a lot of skin in the game right out of the gate. And the reason the bank does that is, well, if the market dropped 20%, who do you think takes a haircut on that? It's not the bank. They're gonna be fine. It's obviously the homeowner that it takes it first. Another example here, subprime. So in the US, they would give you a discount there for the first couple of years. In Canada, we do the opposite. We add 2% on top of the mortgage, and we call that the stress test. And we say, to qualify for the 5%, show us that you can pay a 7% mortgage. Third, income document. Providing documents to the bank here almost feels like giving them your firstborn. And a mortgage application is not easy. They're going to ask for a lot of documents. A broker may come back to you 2, 3, 4 times, asking you for bank statements from the last 6 months, further pay stubs from your employer, tax returns, proof that you've paid your taxes. Look, the point is the lending environment here in Canada today is very conservative, and it is very different from what they had in the United States at the time. And so what that means for you is you don't need to worry about a housing collapse in Canada because the borrowers have a lot of skin in the game, okay? And there's a lot more equity in the greater Vancouver area, in BC, than there was in these places like Fort Lauderdale, Florida, Las Vegas, or Phoenix, where buyers were rocking up to the bank with a heartbeat and a pen and getting mortgages with no income and no money down. So I hope that kind of explains some of the differences. Read the book. It's fun. Lewis is one of the best writers on finance. You'll laugh out loud at different times of the book. Okay, fourth topic, BC's Bombshell. We had the BC United, which used to be called the BC Liberal Party here, ended up dropping out of the race. I've never seen anything like this in my adult life, where during a campaign, a political party folds its tents and says, and waves the white flag. A couple of things on this. First, the reason why, what caused this? Two things caused this. One is almost Shakespearean. So the leader of the BC United, Kevin Falcon, kicks out John Rustad on his birthday, kicks him out of the party, out of the caucus, out of the party, and Rustad goes and sits as an independent. Now, in Canada, if you get kicked out of the party, your political career is virtually over because independents don't get elected in our system. You have to be with a party. So Rustad goes, he sits by himself. His career is over pretty much. And what happens is, two things happen. The federal Conservatives rise in popularity, and Rustad rises in popularity with it because he then joins the BC Conservative Party. And a few of the United go over to the Conservative Party. But you know what I think the biggest factor was that killed United? Changing their name. They went from calling themselves to the BC Liberal Party, which everybody knew the brand, and they named themselves a soccer team. Like Manchester United, BC United. What is that? In any event, changing their name. Go back into the polls. It's almost right after they change their name. You just see them nosedive in the polls. And there's a great book on marketing called The 22 Immutable Laws of Marketing by a guy named Al Reese and his partner. And he just gives examples, a couple of funny examples of how when you are a brand and you stand for something, you do not use the same name for something else. Like, for example, Coors beer. Would you drink Coors water? You wouldn't drink Coors water. Let's say Listerine. Would you buy Listerine soap? No. So brands are very powerful. Stick to one name for one product. And that's the same thing for political parties. You do not change your name constantly like that. It messes with people's perception of who you are. Conservative is a lot easier than United. Anyway, the reason why, enough of that, but anyway, the reason why Kevin Falcon folded the tent right now was, one, he was going to get hammered in this election. They were going to get embarrassed. They probably weren't going to pick up 2 seats. Totally embarrassing. To save face, he drops out prior to the election, and it makes him look like the good guy because he can say, hey, you know what? Look, I want to have one united party on the right, and I didn't want us splitting the vote. And so this is my way to, show the right of center vote that I really care about them and the issues in the province. Now, maybe there is some genuine truth to that, but he's not doing that if he's at 9% in the polls. That's why he did it. If he's at 29% in the polls, there's no way that happens. First time I've ever seen that in Canadian politics in my adult life. Okay, last topic, half-duplexes. When it comes to the newer versions we're seeing that are 3, 4, 5 years old in East Vancouver, if you're out there looking for them, the bedrooms are on the smaller side. Like the typical layout here is going to be front, back. Back is more popular because it's more private and you're closer to the garage. And it's usually going to be about $50,000 to $75,000 more in today's market from what I see. And the typical layout is you're going to have a very open living, dining, kitchen setup with a large island. And then you're going to walk up to the second floor and you can have 2 bedrooms. Here's where it gets interesting. Some of these bedrooms are really tight. Remember, though, the builders are maximizing the space. They're trying to build as much as they can. and are allowed to. No more closets. You're basically getting those sort of IKEA closets built into the walls, but you don't have the old style. And the room sizes are small. Get used to that. The room sizes are quite small. I don't know if you'd like that. Maybe you see an open house, pop into a half duplex and see how you feel about the size of the bedrooms. The master bedroom, the largest bedroom, is on the top third floor. And maybe there's a little bit of a view if it faces north towards the mountains. And, it's a nice residential view with trees and so on. But, how often are you really going to enjoy a view up there? Personally, I think having the master bedroom on the top level kind of defeats the purpose, because why do you want to walk up 2 flights of stairs? There's usually not a lot of closet space because you've got an angled roof up there. And, sometimes you could hit your head if it's too narrow and the builder hasn't... basically the size of the lot was too small. But I don't know. It's an interesting type of product. I really would prefer to have a larger master bedroom on the second floor. If you're a buyer out there, maybe take that into consideration as well. And remember that the half duplex is always generally more in demand than the front. Okay, if you enjoy this video, give us a like. I appreciate it. And feel free to leave your opinions, comments below, and we'll see you next time.